is a versatile, award-winning actress, mapa-entablado man o TV, who made a name for herself at a very young age. Samahan niyo po ako na makinig sa kwento ng buhay ni Miss Chris Villionco. Hi, Chris!
Hi, this is a major challenge, ha? I'm not gonna cry.
Challenge ba? Pero kasi si Chris, bata pa lang ako, kilala na kita. Eh, syempre, di ba? Bata pa lang, kumakanta ka na sa TV.
Yes.
Pero ang pinaka-vivid memory ko sa'yo, Chris, yung sa commercial na kumanta ka.
Oo.
Di ba?
Yes,
Yun
yes.
yung
Medyo
parang-
yun yung mga ano ko eh. Child singing sensation days.
Yes! Ilang taong ka nun, nung child singing sensation?
Child singing sensation, nagsimula na yun, siguro mga 11 na ako. I started sa teatro, 9, pero kinukuha na ako for commercials. Mga 10, 11 na ako.
Kasi yung lola niya ay si Miss Armida Sigion Reyna.
My mother is actually a TV producer.
So lumaki ka talaga? Lumaki sa set, lumaki ka na nakakasama mo, nakakasalamuha mo, people in
Oo,
the
not as a
industry.
performer though, or an actor. Pero alam ko na kung paano.
Pero yung unang-unang sabak mo in front of the camera.
I was 5 or 6. Nag-guesting ako sa Ryan Musikahan.
Oh, yeah, yan ang mga naalala natin.
Diba?
Nagpapiano, tapos
Diba?
gabi.
Diba? So,
Yes.
and doon ako dinagay ng mami ko. So, kanta-kanta lang ako. And then parang that time, natuwa si Mr. C nung nanood siya nung recital. Sabi niya, sige lahat kayo, ilalagay ko sa show. So ako, nakaupo ako sa piano niya.
5 years old.
Oo, kasi
Wow.
kumakanta ako ng Part of Your World. So, parang nakatapis
Yun ang kinanta
lang
mo,
ako.
yung Little Mermaid?
Oo.
Part of your world?
Oo, yun. So that's my first sabak. My grandmother didn't even pay attention to me.
Yung mga pinapakinggan mo na nun.
Broadway.
Broadway
Broadway
talaga.
Broadway baby ako. West End Broadway. And then, kaya yun yung influence talaga. So the first time I went to New York, siguro mga, 9 years old ako noon.
Nung New York.
When we got to New York, sabi niya, okay, may top 3 ka. Itong mga pupuntahan natin. Les Miserables, Miss Saigon, Phantom of the Opera.
Pinapanood sa'yo.
Yun.
Oh.
Because she knew na, okay, this is, at that time, syempre malaki na si Lea noon and all of that, so idol ko siya. So I had to watch it even if I didn't understand what it was about, right? Diba?
Oh, nung bata tayo, yun yung era ng sobrang sikat ng theater dahil kay Miss Lea
Yes,
Salonga.
exactly.
So, 9 years old, una mong na-witness yung mga plays.
Yes.
Tapos in New York pa.
In New York. And then
Anong
after that,
naramdaman mo nung nanood ka?
I loved it. Pero as a spectator ba? As a person, as a viewer, hindi naman as a performer.
Pero na-fascinate ka na sa mundo ng theater nung
Yes.
time na yon. Na parang nasabi mo sa sarili mo na, ay, ito ang nakikita kong gusto kong gawin.
Hindi.
Hindi mo naisip
I've always been a reluctant performer, more so celebrity, if whatever status I had at that time.
Dahil,
Kasi I'm sobrang shy ko na tao. Sobrang introvert. Ngayon ko lang na-notice yun. Pero nung umuwi kami, my sister said, uy, may auditions para sa Les Miserables. And bukas yung auditions para sa mga bata. And today is the last day of auditions. Tapos sabi
nalala mo
ko,
pa saan yung audition?
sa William J. Shaw Theater sa Shangri-La Mall.
Ganyan nga, dyan
Oo,
yan. Audition
diba?
din ako dyan. Repertory Philippines.
Oh, yes, diba? So, dun yun. And then, she brought me there. It's the first time I saw lines of people. Parang audition talaga. So, nandun ako, and then lines and lines of people, lines and lines of children memorizing Les Miserables. Siguro we were about 100 kids. We went in, and if now, kung nakikita natin mga auditions, di ba, tipong nasa studio kayo, kakanta ka, may panel. Ito hindi. Pupunta ka sa teatro, tapos puno yung teatro. Parang talagang may nanonood sa inyong audience, and then nandun si Zenaida.
Yun yung mga nag-audition yung nakaupo.
Yung nakaupo, nag-o-audition nasa orchestra.
Tapos
yung
yung-
lahat nasa balcony. Yung mga
Yes.
nanay,
Yes,
lahat
nanonood,
nandiyan
yes.
nanonood.
Yes, ganun
Okay?
yung audition sa theater noon.
Yes, and then parang kang what do you call this? You're lined up, siguro 10 kayo on stage, and then step forward, step forward.
Yes!
Diba?
Ganun.
And then, so I was there, step forward.
Ano kinanta mo?
Castle on a Cloud na. As in, wala nang paligoy-ligoy pa. Castle on a Cloud. And then they said, you're Ana Cristina. I never put Chris or whatever. It's Ana Cristina Sigion Reyna Villionco. How are you related? And naka-mic yan so parang wala kang makausap. Hindi mo alam kung sino kinakausap mo. She's my lola. Ganun. Okay. At the back of my head now, I think, well, maybe that was my foot in the door kasi nga apo ako. Pero they didn't really know to what extent I would be talented. And then that was the beginning of my theater
career. At the age of?
At the age of 9.
Pero ang question ko, ano nauna? Theater o yung mga commercial paglabas mo sa
Theater.
TV? Ah,
Theater ang nauna.
pala.
Tapos, finally, pinansin na ako ng lola ko. Sabi niya, marunong ka palang kumanta. O sige, mag-aawitan kita ka na.
Yes, aawitan kita.
Doon ko na natutunan ng camera 1 and camera 2. And then, after that, siguro mga 10 na ako noon, 11. As in, recording ako ng recording sa Awitan Kita. So doon ko, whatever is left of the way I speak, yung enunciation ko, doon ko talaga natutunan. Sa lola ko.
Parang yun yung training.
Kasi, di ba, like a lot of people, they say, alam nila na Inglesera ako and whatever. Pero, kapag magsalita ako and I have to learn a script, wala akong accent.
Wala.
Wala akong kasi talagang pinapauwi ako ng lola ko kung hindi correct. Yung puso, 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 puso. Lahat yan, inano niya talaga. Inisa-isa niya yan sa recording studio. Kaya kahit ako ngayon, thank you, mahal. As in, yung tenga ko talaga, pag may naririnig akong off sa the pronunciation, naalala ko yung
Conscious
lola
ka
ko. Kasi
dahil sa training
grabe
yan.
siya.
Paano
As
siyang
in,
lola sa inyo?
Nobody thought na papauwiin niya ako sa recording.
Talaga?
Nobody thought na papahiyain niya ako in front of people. Or she'll fire me. She fired me in one show.
Hindi nga.
Oo. She
Paano
fired
kanya
me.
finire? Sinabi
Go,
niya sa
go
face
home.
mo? Sa harap ng maraming tao?
Go home.
Ba't kanya pinauwi? Anong ginawa mo?
I cut my hair. Ito yung beginning ng hair kong ganito. So, mas matanda na ako noon, ha? As in, adult na ako noon, ha? Nainis siya kasi maikli na yung buhok ko. Tapos, di ba pag-aawitan kita, kailangan dalagang Pilipina. Hindi na mukhang dalagang Pilipina to. Pero sinumbatan ko siya ng, bakit ikaw? Ano ka nang aawitan kita? Bakit? Ganito din yung buhok mo noon, ha? Binawi ako.
Sabi niya sa'yo?
No wanna talk to you. Ginanon ako. So I said, okay. As in, nag-away talaga kami ng bongga. And then, syempre, in the end, I'm going to say sorry, cry, whatever. So, ayun. I mean, that was our relationship. I think my other cousins enjoyed a more... what do you
Lola?
call it? Lola relationship. But because early on, I was already yung parang tinututukan niya na, okay, baka ito naman ang kakanta at mag-showbiz and going to continue a career in the performing arts. Kailangan ayusin ko to.
Tsaka di ba ang tawag na rin sa'yo, you were like the young Lea Salonga?
Yeah, that was major pressure on my part because I did not sound like her. And my voice did not evolve that way.
Paano mo siya
Ibang-iba.
na-meet, si Miss Lea?
Si Lea, alam na niya. Well, my grandmother was also a fan. And my grandmother, actually, yung lola ko, had aawitan kita videos of her. Before Miss Saigon pa. Okay? And then, nung nagbukas ang Miss Saigon, talagang lumipad yung lola ko to London para panoorin siya. So, there was a relationship there. She knew I was a fan, but I don't think she knew that I was somebody that people were grooming to follow in her footsteps.
Hindi nakaka-pressure.
Oo, kasi hindi ko naman plano yun eh. I think that was also a way na parang sabihin lang ng mga tao na, ano kaya siya? Di ba kailangan may title lagi? So, I think that was
Oo nga,
it.
dito sa bansa natin, kailangan, ano kayong title pwede?
Kailangan natin ng title. So, child singing sensation, like, as if I'll come up with the title at that age.
Oo. Hindi, kasi yun ang expectation ng public sa'yo because nga of the success you received at a very young age.
Yes.
So parang they're expecting na talagang, ito yung batang tututukan namin kasi ito yung parang career path na susundan
And
niya.
ganun din ang mga network noon at that point. But ayoko eh.
Anong
At that
ayaw mo?
point, lumalabas na sina Britney. At that
Christina Aguilera.
point, at that point,
early 2000.
yes. And then at that point also, may mga lumalabas na rin na other talented kids of celebrities and also a whole
New breed.
onslaught of new breed. 'Di ba? It was the days of TGIS, Tabing Ilog. It was there, okay? And I wasn't fitting in anything. Kinausap na ako ng mami ko, sabi niya, this is your chance. Kung gusto mong mag-US at mag-college, pumunta ka na. Kasi laos ka na eh.
Ganun
In so many words.
Ka-straightforward.
My mom's gonna blame me. She's gonna say, why do you always make me look like the bad guy sa mga interview mo? Hindi siya bad guy, okay? It's just in so many words. Sinabi na niya.
Straightforward
Sabi
lang.
niya, look, everybody is promising you the world, pero wala namang dumarating. May teleserye ka ba? Wala. May show ka ba? Wala. Ginagano na talaga.
Ilang
And
taon
she
ka
was
niyan
present.
nung ginaganon ka?
16, 17. So this is your chance. If you wanna go, go. And have something that you can fall back on. Maghanap ka na ng fallback. Kasi hindi natin alam kung tatagal to. Ganun
sa
na. And
industry.
I'm grateful I'm super grateful that she did that. I mean, it's harsh. But ayoko din yung, okay, sige. Sige, tingnan ko kung meron naman pala akong ibang maibubuga, di ba? Rather than singing. So I decided to go abroad. And then I did
Ilang years?
4 years there. I refused to perform. I refused to take anything to do with performing arts.
Dahil?
Instead, kasi parang I wanted to forget na rin. Parang I wanted to change my life talaga. I thought it was going to be a change.
Kakalimutan mo yung pagkanta.
Oo.
Yung boses mo, itatago mo. Sobrang ganda ng
but what I
boses.
did was, nag-music ako. As in, kasi sa school namin, walang mga degree. May mga concentrations. Mag-graduate ka, liberal arts degree. Yun lang yun. Pero may concentrations ka. So, ang concentration ko, I started to do music. Music theory, music production, voice. Talagang I went into classical for a while. I went into jazz. Doon ko na-discover lahat yun. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I can do it now. But I'm just saying, at least, naging mas well-rounded yung pagkakaalam ko sa music rather than yung trabaho ko lang.
Kamusta yung life mo in New York for 4 years?
Quiet.
Away from the limelight.
Quiet.
Away
And I had
from
no
everything.
money. Like, I was relying for the first time. Well, I was relying on allowance. That's it. I was relying on allowance and whatever
normal
my
life
dad
talaga
gave.
lahat?
Normal. Normal.
Na-enjoy mo?
I did. I did kasi for the first time, naramdaman ko yung mga kaibigan na gusto ka lang for you. Wala silang alam sa buhay mo. Wala.
Di nila alam yung Chris
alien.
Villonco sa Pilipinas.
Oo. Like, they only found out siguro 3 to 6 months later.
Tawag nila sa'yo, Ana?
Ana,
Ayaw mo ng Chris?
ayaw ko ng Chris. Actually, up to now, ayaw ko ng Chris.
Hindi nga.
Hindi ko talaga gusto. Kasi I associate it with, kailangan on ako. Kailangan Chris Villonco ako. Kaya ayaw ko pag may tumatawag sa akin, Chris Villonco. Kasi parang, okay, so I need to put it on. Feeling ko, ano ko yun?
It's your persona.
Parang Sasha Fierce. Ganon.
It's the persona. So, paano ka bumalik sa theater?
Tinawagan ko yung tao sa Repertory Philippines noon. I said, I don't care. Magsisimula akong ensemble. Basta gusto ko lang sumabak and talagang kung okay ako doon, then maybe I'll work my way into theater. So, that's what I did. I auditioned in front of Baby Barredo again.
Grabe, siya pa rin.
Full circle. I in front of her and her eyes lit up and then she goes, and I was auditioning for children's theater pa nga nun eh. So children's theater is like araw-araw, 5 in the morning, papasok ka sa teatro, mag-show ka ng 7, 11, 3, 5. She said, okay, you're my Cinderella. Yan yung, the show. And then that year, I got like 3 or 4 of the lead roles at that time.
Parang dun ka talaga, no?
Oo. And
You're
that's
meant to be on stage.
Yeah, and that's where and then that's where I was. And then nakapag-Disney pa ako sa Hong Kong.
Diba?
Nagtrabaho pa ako doon.
Anong minahal mo sa theater, sa performing on stage?
Again, it's the discipline and that I never had to perform as Chris Villonco. I always had to perform as another character. And that made me very comfortable in my skin. That I could be somebody else for just 2 hours.
How did motherhood change you?
I'm nicer. I think I'm more patient. I've become a little bit still more manic. And I had to learn over that year na parang, relax ka lang, nandyan lang siya, kaya niya yan.
How does it feel holding your child for the first time?
By the time we got home and by the time I was looking at him, actually, I feel it more now. Now that parang buong-buo na sa niya, sa
Ilang-
isip niya
how old
na
is he?
nanay ka,
2?
nanay mo ko.
Is he 2 or 3?
1.
He's 1.
He's 1.
Oh, yan ang cute na stay.
Yeah.
Yun,
Yeah,
nagsasalita,
And
malambing.
he's still blonde. It's a little weird.
Cute.
Oo.
Mas ngayon nagsisink in yung pagiging nanay.
Oo, and talagang chochong-chocho pa rin siya sa akin eh. So, you know, that's...
Anong nagustuhan mo sa pagiging nanay?
I think yung sobrang nagustuhan ko is knowing what I want and what I don't want for the child. I think we were very, very particular about the way he was going to be raised. We did not like the fact na there were all these names already being associated with him. Ayokong any semblance na special siya.
Dahil,
Dahil
special in a way ng special treatment,
special treatment. And also kasi, nakita ko yun with me eh. Kahit
Gusto
yung-
mo siyang lumaki as a normal kid.
Yes, because I didn't have that. I wasn't normal. 9 years old, I was already dealing with, are they gonna like me? Are they gonna clap for me? Are they going to love me? Diba? I already had an audience.
Kasi bata ka pa lang, nasa
Oo,
limelight
ang
ka
dami
na.
na eh.
Exposed ka na sa public opinion.
Oo.
Public figure ka na at a very young age.
Yes.
Eh, that's the time na dapat hinahanap mo pa lang yung sarili mo.
Exactly.
Inaalam mo pa lang kung sino ka, minamaneuver mo pa lang yung mundo na saan ba ako pupunta, tapos nakalatag na lahat sa'yo.
Correct.
Ito
Or
nang
even
gagawin
in
mo.
your personal relationships, diba? Do you like me for me or do you like me for everything that comes with me? May ganon?
May ganun, oo.
Diba?
What did you learn in life? Looking back.
I think when I look back at all of that, I cannot blame anyone. I cannot blame any circumstances for whatever I am today. But all I know is that as long as I keep working on myself and the way I want to treat other people and the way I want to show my son and possibly whoever comes after that, how we deal with a world like this, I cannot hide anything anymore. My life has always been an open book. Also because my family has chosen to be very open about their situations in life. And no matter how private, people want to know. And people will judge and people will do all of that. But for me, I go with my rules, my values, based on what I learned from the past. And it took a while for me to decide on my own that this is what I'm happy with.